The Great Flood is a story about wickedness, destruction, and renewal. The Roman poet Ovid wrote about the Great Flood in his work, The Metamorphoses. Remember that this epic poem of Ovid's, in each of its stories, was focused on change, metamorphosis. Even in the story of the Myrmidons, which you read at the end of first quarter, focuses on the change of ants into men. I think his theme of change was chosen because the time period in which he was living, the time of early empire, was a time when all around him seemed to be turning from chaos to order. Or at least that's what the new emperor was aiming for. Ovid's story about the Great Flood is, I think, especially powerful because of its description of the world before the flood and the response to those actions. I think that's powerful because of its alignment to the reality of life in ancient Rome at the time, an almost 200-year period of civil unrest, now seemingly brought under control by one man who was hoping to restore Rome to its glory through a return to more traditional values, through the upholding of character traits among its citizens. Chief among these traits is, of course, our theme for this module, piety, or pietas. Before we begin reading the story of the Great Flood in Latin, we're going to be taking a look at some background myths which feed into the Roman understanding of the Great Flood. One of the things that we're going to do first is take a look at a film which discusses the tradition of the flood story throughout world history. As you watch the short film, I would like you to think about these questions. Be able to describe the similarities and differences you noticed in the various flood stories highlighted in the video. Be able to explain why you think a variety of cultures share this basic story. And I'd also like you to have some comments about why it is important to learn about these stories or isn't important to learn about them. Make sure that you can explain your view and support it. I'd also like you to be able to think about what purpose these stories serve for our world today, or for the world of yesteryear, or do they serve no purpose in our world today? Please be able to substantiate your view with some factual information that you can point to as a support for what you think. After you have viewed the film, then I would like you to move on and watch another film regarding another background myth for the Great Flood. At the end, when we are finished with the lesson, we will be participating in a class discussion where you will have to answer the questions that I'm posing here for you prior to looking at the videos.